Today we're going to be doing some foot, ankle, and calf strengthening, and I'll also be giving adaptations to use your hands, wrists, and forearms. We're going to need space around us to extend our legs or our arms in any direction, although you can put yourself next to a wall to give yourself a little bit of support. I'm also going to do some exercises where we might want some tape to mark off our space in order to orient ourselves. We're just going to warm up our ankles by doing a few pliés and relevés. So if you're new to dance terminology, our plié is a bend, and I'll turn to the side so you can see what this looks like. Our knees are bending forward, our feet are staying planted where they are, and our torso is staying upright as opposed to tilting forward. So our knees are bending over our toes, torso is upright, and feet are planted. Our relevé is a rise, and we're going to be rising to the ball of our feet. Whatever range of motion you're at for this is totally fine. I'm going to think of my kneecaps being raised up and not relaxed or bent forward, but they're nice and engaged up. As we do our first pliés and relevés, we're going to keep our toes an equal distance apart from our heels, so they're making a little equal sign, and this is called our parallel position. As I do my parallel position, I'm going to just pay attention to the amount of space that's in between my knees, and as I bend forward in my plié, I'm going to keep that distance in between my knees instead of making it come closer together. So I'm going to do a plié for 8. Here's number 7 and 6. Here's number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice, relax. I should mention just right now, I do have pretty poppy ankles, so there might be some crinkling noises that you hear in the film. Also, my cat is very hyper, so if you hear any pitter-patter in the background, that is what that is. Let's move on to our relevés, our rises. So we're going to put the weight on the balls of our feet, and then we're going to come back and settle right to where our standing weight is. And as I raise up, I'm thinking of my ankles just going in a nice straight line. They're not doing any kind of arcing or any kind of circular motion. I'm just going right from my foot up to the ball of my foot. Let's do 4 more. 4. Keeping my knees engaged. 2. And 1. We're going to combine these, so we're going to go up onto relevé. We're going to return to our neutral parallel footing, and then we're going to take a plié and stretch. Let's do 8 of those. So we relevé, down, plié, stretch number 2, relevé, down, plié, stretch number 3, relevé, down, plié, stretch number 4, down, plié. Number 5, thinking of our knees heading up and then forward in one plane. Number 6, number 7, number 8. Nice. We're going to take one of our feet forward, and we're just going to do some ankle rotations. So this, I'm imagining that my leg is staying in the same position and just my ankle is making a nice big circle. We're going to take those ankle rotations and we are going to reverse the direction of our circle. We'll take our other foot, do some ankle rotations. This is the really poppy one. I apologize. that direction, reverse it. Awesome, come back to your parallel position. So what we're going to do next is we're going to strengthen our ankles through some plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. If these are new words for you, my plantar flexion is when my foot is extended in as straight a point as it can get. So it's in a straight line from the top of my thigh down the top of my shin towards the top of my foot, and I'm pointing and extending through my toes. My dorsiflexion is when my heel is reaching forward and my toes are reaching back. This is also called a flexed foot. So here's my plantar flexion, or my pointed foot, my dorsiflexion, or my flexed foot. There's medium positions in this as well, so I can have my foot pointed, but then my toes flexed, and we'll be using this position as well. So I'm going to be facing the side to demonstrate this exercise. We're going to take a stretch forward with our toes nice and pointed. We're going to put this down, and our weight is going to be evenly distributed on both of our feet at this point instead of being back or forward. Evenly distributed. I'm going to take my toes and flex and replace to the ground. I'm going to completely flex that foot, replace to the ground. My weight transfers back as I point, and I bring it in. We'll take our other foot, point it out, weight evenly distributed on both feet, flex the toes, toes go down, flex the foot, foot goes down, full point, bring it in, front with the other foot, point, and down, flex the toes, bring them down, flex the foot, bring it down, point, bring it in, other side, point, and down, flex the toes, and down, flex the foot, and down, full point, bring it in. Let's take it side to side. So starting, we'll point, bring it down, flex the toes, down, flex the foot, down, full point, in, other side, point, down, flex the toes, down, flex the foot, down, full point, and in. Two more times, one each side. Down, flex the toes, down, flex the foot, sorry, my bad, and down, full point, and in. Last time, out, and down, flex the toes, and down, flex the foot, down, and point, and in. We're going to shake out our feet a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of a foot-specific strengthening exercise. So we're going to lift the big toe on one side, replace, and then lift our little toes, replace. We go big toe, replace, other toes, replace, big toe, replace, other toe, replace. Last time, big toe, replace, other toes. Let's do our other side. So we have big toe, replace, other toes, replace, big toe, replace, other toes, replace, big, replace, others. Last time, big and others. Let's do both feet at the same time. So we're going to go big toes, replace, other toes, replace, big, replace, other, replace, big, replace, others, replace, big, replace, others, replace. Nice, shake out your feet a little bit. Next, we're going to be working on treading through our feet a little bit. So we're going to take a forced arch, what's called a forced arch, our foot is going to be kind of in our releve position, so when we were up on our toes, but we're bending our knee and we're putting a little bit of weight into it. So we're in our forced arch. Both feet are going to come to releve. Our weight is equal between them, and we switch our forced arch to our other foot. So we meet at releve, and then we switch. Let's do 8. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, making sure that your knee is tracking. It's moving just forward and back, not in and out. 7 and 8. Nice. We're going to add a plie of our standing leg. So our knee is headed straight. I think of over my second toe. We meet at releve. Both knees bend. One foot is in a forced arch. Here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bring it down. Nice. We are going to do some single leg lifts. So here, if you need to have the wall or a chair to balance, I would recommend that you do so. What you want to think about maintaining as you do this is that your pelvis is square above your foot, and you will have to transfer your weight over a little bit, but we want to make sure that we're not sinking into one side of the pelvis as we put our weight on that one foot. So our pelvis is nice and square and our torso is straight on top. We can put your foot just kind of pointing to that little knob, and we're going to take some rises, thinking of our ankle going straight up, our knees going straight on top of it, making sure to check in with your ankle that it's not doing any kind of crescent moon or wobbling as we go up. Here's number 6. Here's number 7. Here's number 8. We're going to switch sides, rising for 8, 7, 6. Engaging through our knee cap, making sure your pelvis is square. 2 and 1. We're going to do it again. If you work in turnout, you have the option to work in a turnout. If this is a new concept to you, I would recommend that you stay in parallel, but you can do it in turnout if that is something that you work in regularly. Here's 7 and 8. Other foot. 1. This foot is so much more wobbly crescent moon for me. 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice, let that rest. We're going to add a little bit of a plie. So what it's going to look like, we have one foot raised, and we're just releving on our one foot. Our kneecap is engaged, our hips are square. We're going to fully stand on that foot as we come down, and then we're going to plie, sending our knee directly over our second toe, keeping our heel flat on the ground. We raise up, we're standing completely on the ground, coming up to our releve, completely on the ground, plie. So when I say completely on the ground, what I mean is that you're not shortcutting yourself and starting to bend your leg or come up onto releve before your foot has made complete contact with the ground. You want to make sure that it's where it needs to be before you move on to the next move. So squaring yourself off, we'll do 8. Really paying attention to that transitional space, making sure your foot arrives. We'll switch sides. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're having a hard time balancing, make sure your core is engaged. 7, 8. Come back up. Let your feet and hamstrings and calves rest for a little bit. We're going to do a second set, optional in parallel or turned out. We go 1, 2, 3, making sure your hips are square. You're turning out just from your hips. And you're making sure you feel that map of your foot on the ground in the same way that you did in parallel. Switching feet. So as you work and turn out, you're not distributing the weight on your foot differently because you're turning out from the hip. Okay, we are going to do a little bit of moving around the space. So I'm going to show you how I am going to mark out my space. If you want to get some tape, this would be a good opportunity to do so. So here I have 3 different grids. Each one of these grids is 2 pieces of tape wide by 3 pieces of tape long. I've put a grid on the floor for my standing version of this combination where we will use our feet, and then I've put a grid on a table and a wall for 2 different options for the seated version. I'm going to start on one of the middle dots facing towards one of the sides with both of my feet, and I'm going to first work my inside foot, so the foot that is closest to the center of my box. And my first exercise, I'm going to work on articulating and just transferring my weight from one foot to the other as I circle around these different dots. So it's like our treading through the feet exercise that we worked on. Once I get to the end, I'm going to reverse it, where I really want to make sure that my heel is down before I start bending my leg. I'm working from my releve all the way down to my plie, making sure that I'm not missing any important steps. After I do that on this one side, I'm just going to rotate 180 degrees. Now it's my other foot that's going to be working. So I go forward, and I'm just making my rounds of the dot as I articulate through my feet. Nice. All right, after we are finished with all of our exercises, we're going to want to give ourselves a nice stretch through our calves and through our feet. So I'm going to just start with a nice calf stretch, flexing my front foot, trying to keep my hip bones even, and elongating through my back, through the crown of my head forward. If you were working in turnout, you can turn your leg in and out from the hip. Even if you weren't working in turnout, you're more than welcome to do this. We're going to plant that foot, take our back foot in and cross, and we're going to hang forward. Bring it up, switch feet, flex in front. Rotate it in and out. Plant, we're going to cross that back foot, hang down. Alright, we're going to take a forward fold and make sure that our head is nice and released. And we're going to just rock back and forth on our feet until we kind of find right in the middle, halfway between our heel and the balls of our feet. We'll rock from foot to foot until we kind of find right in the middle of our feet. We're going to take a releve and let ourselves release and feel the stretch in the front of our ankles. Slowly, we're going to bend the knees, maintaining that forced arch, and stretch out the back of our feet. Please do this to the level that it feels comfortable for you. Deep flexion in the toes is not comfortable for everybody, so do what you need to protect yourself. Slowly, we're going to bring our ankles back into a deep stretch in the back of our calves. We're going to plant the heels as we bring the tailbone to the sky, head releases down towards the ground. That sequence again, we're going to come up to releve. Bend the knees forward if you need your heels to come down. Heels come down into our calf stretch. Tail comes to the sky, head hangs down. Weight is in between our heels and the balls of our feet. In between both of our feet. Let's flex one foot, bring it down, flex our other foot, bring it down. I'm going to rotate to the front so you can see this a little bit better. We're going to bring our feet out into a second, and we're going to just bend one foot, bend one knee. Still thinking about our knee tracking over our second toe, and our long leg is fully planted on the ground. The sole of our foot is completely on the ground. Switch, bending our other knee, sole of the foot completely on the ground.
Coming back up, let's do one more time each side. Wonderful. I'm going to come back to facing side. Just to demonstrate this, we're going to come into our downward dog. If you would like to tread through the feet to give yourself a little bit of an extra stretch, you can do that. We're going to think about our pelvis staying where it is as we transfer the weight to one foot and raise our other up. We want it just to the level that our pelvis can accommodate, so it's still staying level and we're feeling a deepened stretch in that standing leg. We're going to take that flying leg, give our ankles some circles in both directions. Float it back down. Transferring, keeping our pelvis level, just moving our leg up to the level that we can support it with our pelvis staying stable. Give your ankles some circles. Other direction. Float it back down. Walk your hands back or your feet forward. Bend your knees and roll up. Thank you so much.